Hello everyone. In this video we are going to continue with our discussion which we started on IDOCs, and before I go ahead, I would like to wish all my Indian friends a very happy Independence Day. It's 15th of August today, and then I hope you guys enjoyed the celebration of the Independence Day, and we also going to have a long weekend, so I believe most of you would be having some plans. Somehow I'm not going anywhere, so and I was able to find out some time to record this video. So um, again, as we started discussing about IDOCs in our last session, I was talking about a scenario wherein we have a distributor, we have a manufacturer, we have some sellers, and then we have end customers. Now, I was talking about the distributor, who's the a person more worried about communicating to all the parties here, because he needs to pick the goods from the manufacturer and then distribute it to the small sellers, because uh, if he's not able to do that successfully, someone else would take his job or agency, whatever, or distributionship. So it's basically you can, people who are in India, they can understand it in a way that we have super stockists in every district. So they will procure big orders from the manufacturers, and eventually they will act as a supplier to the small sellers. So basically we have both sales and purchasing involved in this. And then, because everyone belongs to a different platform, the distributor has to be ready to communicate to everyone so that the business is not affected. When I say business, it's all about invoicing. When I say invoicing, it's all about orders. When I say orders, it's all about purchases. It could, so basically someone else is purchasing, you are helping him with his order. You want to purchase, then someone else would be helping you with your order. So there would be purchase order, there would be sales order, like that. So a lot of things are involved here. So this is a bit complex scenario, I would say, because this was one of the real time scenario. I was working a couple of days back, and in this particular project, whatever I used to get was an IDOC. Everything which comes inside or goes outside of my system, when I say my, basically I am the distributor. So whatever is coming in my system or whatever is going out of my system, both the things are IDOC. So when I'm saying IDOC, let's try to analyze what exactly would be an IDOC. Now, before I take a deep dive, we'll consider a small scenario. And yes, before actually I go ahead, I would also like to tell you something here. Uh, many of many of the audience friends who are watching this video would have either tried to learn the IDOC on their own, or maybe few people would have actually worked on the IDOCs. Now, I am trying to explain this in such a way that a person who doesn't know anything about IDOC should be able to understand it. So we can make the things as complex as possible, but again, at the same time, it's us who can make it as easy as possible. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible, trying to give you all the basic examples. And my request is, sometimes we need to unlearn a bit to learn a bit. So that's the principle which I follow. So if you already know anything about IDOC, so just don't try to correlate the concept for now. Just leave that knowledge aside. Please follow me through the videos, and I'm sure you are going to get a better picture. So this was a bigger scenario, a very big scenario, and then they have this guy is having a lot of different SAP systems. Let's say we have EWM, let's say I have APO, something like that. So many systems are there. So this is a very complex one, highlighting with red. Now, don't know what is happening. Okay, not able to highlight. Yeah, okay. Now Now we are going to discuss a very simple scenario. It's not SAP, it could be a very generic scenario. I want to send a text message to my friend. Some of you might want to send it to your girlfriends or boyfriend. So basically we are trying to send a SMS, that's a text message. So you are trying to send it from your mobile, and then the expectation is that the message should reach to your friend's mobile via the cell phone operator. Now we have multiple cell phone operators involved here. Somebody might be on AT&T, someone else is on a Verizon network. India, you might be on Airtel, your friend is on Idea. So it's like that. Now, okay, so that is one thing. Second thing, when you are sending the message, your expectation is that you want to send it in any language. It could be Hindi, English, Punjabi, Tamil, Telugu, whatever. So at the same time, it should be delivered exactly to your friend. Now, so this one basically it's like your hardware should also be compatible in this case. So let's not make it complex. Let's simply discuss about English. So you are sending a text message in English from your cell phone, from your cell number, and the expectation is it should reach to your friend's number. So what all things involved here? So we have a cell phone involved, then we have your cell phone operator involved, then we have another cell phone involved, then we have the message involved. Now I want to break this example further so that we can correlate it with the IDOC concept. So cell phone 1, cell phone 2. So if you guys are with me, so I'm sure we can definitely call this one our cell phone as sender and your friend's cell phone as receiver. So we have a sender and we have a receiver. So when you are sending your message, means when you are sending the message, it's actually going out. We can call it an outbound message. The person who is actually receiving it, for him or her, it would be like inbound message. So basically, it's going out like this, and then it's applying some formula. 1 second. It went out. It was received. So this is the flow. So this flow is basically outside. It's moving out. This is basically moving in. Received. Or it should be like this. This one explains it. So it went out from here, it moved here, something like this. I mean, don't go with the arrow. Oh, let me delete this. It will confuse me. So something is moving out from here. We will call it an outbound message. Something which is coming here to your friend's cell phone, we're calling it as an inbound message. So from today onwards, when you are sending an SMS or a text message to your friend, just think that you are sending an outbound message. Your friend, or if you're receiving, it should be an inbound message for you. So this is how you're going to think now. So what all things we can see if we want to analyze this scenario. So we have a cell phone, which is like my sender system. Then this is my receiver system. Okay. Then I have my cell number. Here also I have a cell number. Now when in most of the cell phones, even though we don't enable the feature, but then there is a feature that whenever I send a message, most of the times it's available in Nokia mobiles. So whenever we send the message, I should get an acknowledgement that the message was delivered. So if you guys have not yet enabled it, you might want to enable it. It will just unnecessarily keep on adding up more messages. So up to you. So basically, status update, whether it was delivered there successfully or not. So this is a very simple scenario. When I want to understand this in terms of IDOC, or okay, we'll hold IDOC for some more time. Now I have my sender system. We have a sender, we have a receiver, we have this sender system, we have this receiver system, we have this technical details of the sender systems, the status, we have an outbound message, we have an inbound message, the message type. Next is what kind of message you are sending. So you are sending a text message, or we are sending a MMS something, maybe multimedia kind of thing. We'll just restrict on text message. So here we should receive a text message. Text message, text message. If you're sending a text message, this guy cannot receive an MMS. Okay. So text message is there. We have the status. Now, what next we are going to have? So next thing is you use an iPhone. Your friend uses a Windows phone. So if you try to think about this scenario, this is very similar to this. Someone is sending an email, someone is sending a fax. Okay, we'll again hold for now. So you are sending from iPhone, your friend is receiving it on Windows phone. But the expectation is whatever you are sending, it should come the same way here. So we have all these things, all these details here. So if I want to store the data, or if I want to categorize the data, we have a couple of things here. Control record or data. So what is my control data? System details, and then in the system details we will be having the cell number. We might also have the phone details, like whether it's an iPhone or what kind of phone, and we will be having the date and time when it was sent. What else we could have? So I think that is fine. So these things we are having under control. So basically these things are controlling that message. Simple, very simple. That's why we have a date and time when the message was triggered or sent from your mobile. We have a mobile which is iPhone, and then we have a cell number which is actually talking to the cell phone operator. Now next thing is we have the data record. In the data record we will be having the text message. Next is status. So whether successful. So we have your control record, we have the data record, we have the status record. So this is how the communication is happening between two cell phones. Now the other problem which we are having here is, if something is going out of an iPhone, it will be basically triggered from an iOS platform. So something is going out on an iOS platform. But in between, we have a middleware. So the middleware is your network. Now, so when these guys developed the iPhone, they made sure that this iPhone is able to comply to all the possible network standards, so that whenever something is going out of this iPhone, it's encoded properly in a format. So this job is being done by iPhone. It's encoded properly in a format that network can understand. So it doesn't matter if you're writing your message on iPhone and it looks very flashy there, or it looks very good in your phone, but then the moment it goes out, it will be converted via various encoding techniques which this network would permit. So if you are writing something here which looks very flashy, when it comes here, that would be converted to a very normal stuff. And then same goes for the receiver, that Windows Phone guy. So the moment this goes to that Windows Phone, this Windows Phone will receive this in a normal encoded format, but then this Windows operating system would decode it and then further display it in the same flashy format which a Nokia Lumia guy can see or an HTC mobile guy can see. But this guy, this network, wants the data in a particular format. Now this facility is available because now this facility is available with the sender and receiver systems. They themselves can convert it, which is very good. That is really good, really an ideal scenario. But then if these guys are not able to convert, because this guy and this guy both are reluctant, this guy, so here because they have to sell the phones, so they definitely they would try to do that. They will match all the network compliance and all, so that is a different scenario. But if just imagine if this guy and this guy, there are only two guys in the market and they don't want to comply with the network, they will say that I don't care, network should convert it. So they have, if they have the monopoly, and then network has to sustain in the market by following the orders of this guy and this guy, then network will make some capability in it so that it can understand this and then convert the data according to both the requirements. But then if network actually starts doing it, it will be like a huge load on the network. So network won't do that. These guys, in this scenario, these guys has to do it, but in this scenario, network will do it. So network is fine, but then when we try to correlate it with the IDOC, we will be having some kind of middleware here. The middleware is basically, it will receive the data from the sender, do the necessary encoding, and then convert it in the required format, and then send it to the receiver. So that's all about IDOC. If I really want to say, this is the whole IDOC concept. But then we have a lot of small things, and I mean obviously some big things also, which will come into picture while we are moving forward. So if you are having any existing IDOC knowledge, that's why I said you just keep it aside for now. We have a control record, we have a data record, we have a status record. Now in the control record, we also might be having some kind of reference number which will represent my message number, or some kind of maybe communication number which can correlate to this text message. Now, so for now I'm just moving this. Okay, so whatever control data in SAP we will be having for an IDOC, that will be stored under EDIDC. This is a table. So This table is going to store the control record. Control record, what it will have? It will have the IDOC number. So IDOC number is basically, this is my message number. Something very similar to that. That reference number which can correlate to this. Then it will have the status. So I spoke about the status here. And then the IDOC type. So obviously it's a text message. As I mentioned earlier, it's a text message. Direction of IDOC. So yeah, it's an outbound. So that is the direction. Receiver port. Who's going to receive it? So your friend's number. That also will be stored here. And that makes sense. Yes, it has to be there because otherwise this message will be confused. So receiver number. Let's just for the concept correlation. Partner type of receiver. Partner type of receiver means in a normal scenario, normal SAP scenario, it could be a vendor, or it could be a customer, or it could be just some kind of logical system which will receive your IDOC and then do some necessary modification on that, some necessary operation. So in this case, the partner type of receiver would be a friend. Partner number, it's basically your friend's cell phone number, you can say, address and lot of other blah blah blah, that is okay. Similarly, we have another table, EDIDD. This is basically for data record, and you can see it's a structure. So what happened after EHP came into picture? They changed this to a structure because they were making some changes. So the new table name is EDIDD underscore old. This will store the data of an IDOC. Status. Here data IDOC number is your same IDOC number or reference number. Then it will have the data, application data, what exactly you are trying to send. And then it will also have certain segments in the data. It won't be a plain message, it will be under certain segments that we will discuss. Now, another table in SAP would be EDIDS. So EDIDS is again status record, IDOC number, date, time when you received the status. Status counter means how many times you tried for the status. The date when the status record was created, what is the status. It will be available in both the control record and control data and status data. User who actually tried to do it. Program name, so it's basically iOS in our case. iOS, and then the text message option, status code, and a lot of things, blah blah blah. So at least by now you should be clear that in SAP also, whenever we are sending a message, it will be having certain things, the control data, the actual data, and the status. All these things will be stored in certain tables. So this is okay. Now the next thing which you should understand is the data in IDOC will be stored under various segments. Now okay, so why this concept has come? Because in real time nobody is going to send a text message to their friends using SAP. They can do it from their cell phone operators, cell network. So in the reality, what exactly we are trying to send is, we are trying to send the sales order details, we are trying to send the delivery details, we are trying to send the shipping details, the billing details, a lot of other things. Okay, so let's think about another scenario. Now I go to Flipkart, I go to the site Flipkart, or I go to this site, very famous one, and I order something. So I have a web interface here. I have a web interface, in the backend it will be having very simple SQL database. This is not ERP. This is a very simple SQL database. Now you go to this web interface, you place the order for a laptop. So the moment you put the order for a laptop, so basically what exactly you did, you put the order for a, you raised the PO, you raised the purchase order in the web interface of Flipkart or Amazon. Now the moment you created the PO, it will be saved in this SQL database under your name and your customer number or customer ID, and then some kind of job would trigger from here which will create a message. So this all the PO details like the material, basically material number, quantity, okay, and then material description, then okay, customer number and all is fine. So you raised a PO and then customer number. A lot of things will be captured here. All the possible details, address, cell number, and blah blah. A lot of details, whatever you provided, payment done or not, payment done or not done, and all this info it will be just simply captured from that web interface. It will be saved under SQL database, and the moment it will be saved in this database, this SQL database is just a storage, nothing else. This is not going to do anything. Some job will trigger and it will capture all these details, this PO detail, and it will send it to the ERP system line here. So it's going to be SAP in this case. So whatever they captured PO details here, they will send it to SAP, and then there will be a middleware. So this middleware, so this SQL database captures everything, sends this to this middleware. Let's say this middleware is PI, so SAP PI or Gentran or TIPCO or Fusion or maybe anything else. Most of the time, if people are having SAP, they will use SAP PI if they or Gentran, or if they are having Oracle, they will try to use Fusion or sometime TIPCO also. So this SQL database, all the information will be captured. Sometime the way they will configure that, this middleware is keep on pointing to this database, or what will happen, a periodic job will trigger, and then the moment you create this, it will go here, immediately some job will trigger, it will capture a file, all the information will be captured in a notepad file. This notepad file will be picked by this middleware SAP PI. This will be converted into a IDOC of PO type, and then this IDOC will be sent to SAP, and the moment it goes to SAP or it hits SAP, it will create a PO. So it will create a PO in SAP with your name. So these all things happen in a matter of few minutes. Or what we can do a setup here in this web interface. So you place the order, they will say that yes, your order is successful. If payment is done, then also it's successful. If not, then also it's successful. And obviously if you chose the payment prepaid order and you couldn't make the payment, then obviously your order will fail. These simple logics will be available here, and then they will simply say that okay, we will update you about the status, or it will be delivered by so and so day, and then this guy is done. Similarly, 1000 orders were placed in the time span of 30 minutes. So let's say 1000 orders were received by Flipkart. So every 30 minutes a job is scheduled, which will extract the data in a notepad file. And then this notepad file will be captured by the middleware automatically, because this file, the moment it's extracted from here, it will be kept under a path, some shared path. this path will be, so this middleware will keep on polling to this path every 30 minutes. The moment it gets the file, it will convert into the IDOC of PO type. And then, because this file, this SQL database will be having other details, although somebody is trying to raise a PO, somebody is trying to cancel an order, somebody is trying to revise an order. So all these details will be captured in this database, eventually in the notepad file, which will be kept here. This middleware will keep on polling every 30 minutes to this path. That file will be captured based on these details, whether it's a purchase order or it's a cancellation order or it's a revision, that kind of IDOC. So basically that kind of message be applied, and then a PO or a cancellation order or a revision order will be created in SAP. So as of now we are creating a PO. So we have two things here. We have IDOC type, we have the message type. So IDOC type is basically PO. Message type is PO create. Similarly, it could be PO change. It all depends. If you are revising the order, it will be like PO change. Now it will go to SAP. It will create a PO or change a PO, whatever. So till now this process is very simple. I'll repeat it once again quickly so that you guys can follow this. Please try to be with me as much as possible, because I'm trying to correlate it with the real-time example. I think most of you would have ordered some product online, and this is how it happens in real time. You ordered a laptop on web interface of Flipkart or Amazon.com, and then the data will be captured in the form of a particular activity that could be a PO creation or an existing order cancellation or revision. It will be inserted in a SQL database lying underlying in the web interface, because web interface needs a very quick data fetch. That's why they will be having a SQL database underlying the web interface. They cannot go and hit SAP every time, otherwise it will be very slow. So we have a SQL database here. Then every 30 minutes a job would be extracted, a notepad file will be generated, kept on a shared path. This middleware will keep on polling this shared location every 30 minutes or maybe every 35 minutes, so that once the job is done every 35 minutes, it will go and pick the file, convert it into an IDOC format, and accordingly that IDOC will hit the SAP system and then do the activity by creating a PO or whatever. Now, when I'm saying all this, then you should understand here is that IDOC is nothing but a language. IDOC is nothing but some kind of a language which SAP is able to understand very well. And why it's able to understand? Because it's basically it's SAP tool. So obviously someone of you would be able to understand English very well because it's your native language. Someone will be able to speak Hindi very well. So it all depends. In the same way, IDOC is SAP's native language. So SAP can easily understand an IDOC and it will go and create a PO. If PO is not able to, SAP is not able to create a successful PO because of, let's say, no inventory, no stock, then it will send a message back to the middleware and it will mention to the middleware that no inventory, order on hold. It will be updated in the SQL database. It will convert this IDOC into the SQL database format. A file will again be put here, which will be again pulled by the SQL database. A job will be scheduled. The order status will be updated. Most of the time, this activity happens within a span of few seconds. So all depends on how robust the system is, how robust this Flipkart system is or Amazon system is. So all depends. I mean, if you are ordering something on Infibeam and if you are ordering something on Flipkart or if you're ordering something on Amazon, so you can see the differences. Few things will be confirmed very quickly, few things will take time, and accordingly sometimes you need to chase the customer care as well. Anyway, so this is a scenario. Now an IDOC came here, IDOC type PO, message type create a PO. PO is created. Now SAP is capable of doing everything automatically. The moment a PO is created, SAP will create a sales order internally. Then it will create a delivery. Then parallelly, because it's going to be delivered, and then if you have already made the payment, then, or if you haven't, then also there is an invoice needed here, so that the payment can be realized. So a billing will be done immediately and invoice will be created if the order is confirmed. So all these things will happen. Now the moment the sales order is created, again it will be an outbound IDOC delivery, again outbound IDOC. Then before this we will be having delivery, and then parallelly we will be having shipping. Same thing, again same thing. So the moment order is created, an outbound IDOC will be created, it will be supplied to PI, it will be sent to SQL database. Here an info will be stored that sales order successfully created. Now this database is just storing the info, but then this SAP is doing all the activity to check whether an inventory is there or not, or based on the forecasting when the inventory will be available, and a lot of other details, the current pricing, the previous pricing, whether the payment was done correctly or not, whether the payment made was acceptable or not, if the price showing on the website is correct or not. A lot of things will be checked by SAP. This SQL database is not capable of doing that. I mean, not exactly, but then we don't want this to do this. I mean, to do that job. So everything is again they will keep on sending it back to SAP PI, which will be again converted to this format, and then it will be updated here, and whatever is updated here will be displayed on the web interface. The moment shipping is created, the moment invoice is created, all the details will be available here, and then further this SQL database will again start coordinating with the courier guys. So courier system, they will be having some other kind of ERP which will keep on updating the information on a daily basis, when the item was dispatched and what happened. So all those details will also be captured here. Eventually it will be updated here, and once this is the delivery is done, you just receive the shipment. The detail will be sent to this guy. Could be IDOC, could not be IDOC, all depends on the system. Here again the same confirmation will be uh, uh, made available in this file, and it will be sent back to the middleware send it here saying that shipping is done, invoice is completed, payment is realized. Then this is how the order is completed. This overall scenario can be achieved successfully from the IDOC and from other techniques as well, but then we are talking about IDOC here. How many minutes? 1 second. 38 minutes, so I'll get some water. Okay, I'm back. So this scenario can be achieved very well using the IDOC techniques. Now what I did, I tried to find out some PPTs on IDOC and then uploaded it on the website. So under important knowledge documents, you can see this PPT. So what we will do, we will quickly go through this PPT so that we will just recap, I mean, in case any concept is missed, and then we will get the real SAP screen. Okay, so this is the PPT. I am not sure where from I got it, either from internet or some database. So I'm not trying to claim the copyrights of someone's work, but then I'm trying to use this PPT for the sake of my understanding and for the sake of others' understanding. But definitely I'm not trying to own this PPT on my name. That's a disclaimer here. Okay. So let's just quickly, what is EDI? So EDI is electronic data interchange. So for example, it's basically whatever example we just discussed is a part of EDI. It could be outbound, it could be inbound. So it's an electronic exchange of business documents between the computer system or business partner using a standard format or communication network. So I think this is pretty much same thing which I explained some time back. It's a paperless exchange. We know that. Nothing great. Okay. Don't look into it. It's very looks very complex, and then we don't want to make it complex. Outbound process with message control, directly without message control. So it's like whenever you are sending a message, you want to receive the status, or you are fine. I mean, the message released, you are done. Something like that. Inbound process with function models. Yes. So this is very important. So as I was trying to explain that you created the purchase order, it was inserted in SQL database, a file was generated using which PI created an IDOC of PO type. Message type is PO create. So it will actually go and hit SAP. Then a function module will be called to create the PO. So that function module will actually take the data from that IDOC as an input, and it will create a purchase order in SAP. So we are going to look into it, don't worry. So in EDI configuration, we will be needing the RFC destinations, which is okay. The ports, partner profile, message control, we will be looking into it. ALE, okay. ALE is application linking and enabling. IDOC is intermediate document. I have already explained EDI, electronic data interchange. So ALE is basically, it's a kind of path. It's a path on which IDOC travels. So in this path, we will be having certain milestones. So we will be having the port, we will be having the partner profile, we will be having the communication channel, we will be having the sender and receiver systems, we will be having a distribution model, some kind of filtering techniques, and many other things. Let's see what all things we can see. So the objective, what is distributed by ALE layer, it's basically transactional master data and control data. That is okay, we already know that. R3 to R3 is fine, R2 to R3 is fine, and SAP and non-SAP is also fine. So SAP and non-SAP, how it's fine? Because your middleware is converting that into IDOC. So ALE, it's a tool, program and data definition. It's a set of all these things. Provides distribution model and technology that enables to blah blah. So basically, it's a path on which IDOC travels. That's it. Reliable. Anyway, I have attached this PPT on the site, so you guys can download it and then try to learn the concept. Components, application survey, okay. So application services, basically which application, whether sales or finance, accordingly it will generate the data. Distribution means recipients, what kind of filtering is done, and how the IDOC is created. Communication, so whether it's a TCP IP. TCP IP means something coming through internet protocol. RFC means coming via a remote destination. And then TRFC is transactional RFC, which is generated out of the result of a transaction, etc. etc. So you can correlate this slide with the example of Flipkart, which we were just trying to see. And then I request Flipkart not to. Anyways, I mean, it's just an example. I'm not sure whether they really follow this system or not. So not to register a case against me. Okay. So in a nutshell, we are having an application layer. Application layer means we are having uh, that web that web-based interface. It's basically flipkart.com in this case, let's say. From that application layer, using middleware, a master IDOC is created, which eventually determines who's the recipient, which is your SAP system in this case. If any data filtration is required, it will be done. An IDOC will be created, which will be passed to the communication layer. It will go back, create a lot of nonsense, and then finally leave it here. Okay. Control data status. These are SAP screens. So yeah, how does IDOC look like? We'll just see the real IDOC. This is just a SM59 screenshot. This was so boring, so it just came out of it. So I think initially I tried to say that we will try to use as less as possible the PPTs, you know, that PPTs are really boring. Okay. So what we will do, we will go and see that what kind of message types available and what kind of IDOC types available in SAP, and then it will give us more details to move further. So WE02, very important transaction, WE02 or WE05, both the transactions, it's basically kind of IDOC report. So what all IDOCs came in the system or what all IDOCs went out of the system, this transaction will have the details. So nothing but a report which will display the list of IDOCs in certain format. So IDOC list. So what I'll do, I'll make it 2012 to 2014. Now direction. If I do an F4 here, so only two options, whether it's coming inside the system or it's going out of the system. So inbound, as of now we are talking about inbound. We are not talking about outbound. We didn't send anything out. We just received a PO details. Now current status means whether it's failed one or a successful one. We are having a lot of statuses here, and this might be an interview question in some of the interviews. So let's have a quick look here. So many status messages, you have to remember the important ones. 51, the application document not posted. Now it could be an error, it could be any warning, but ultimately that PO was not posted, PO was not created. 53, it was successfully posted. 56 means there was an error in the IDOC. 60 means when the IDOC came and system tried to do that, execute that function module, there was some kind of issue due to which the syntax check was not possible, so they couldn't process the PO. And then 32, if the IDOC is manually edited, the status will change to 32. Okay, data passed to port OK means whenever you are sending some IDOC to when some IDOC outside of your recipe means outbound message, then it will be just sent to a port and then it will be left. I mean just the middleware has to take it from there. 01 is IDOC generated. So main 51 means not posted. A region of worry for me. 53 posted means I am happy. That's it. So for now, because I'm not sure what kind of data I'll be having here. No basic type. So many things here. 1 second. PO star. So you can see we have PORDCR01, which means create purchase order. Similarly, you have delete purchase order history, update PO, means somebody is trying to revise the order. So PORDCR, change, create purchase order, change purchase order. So if I take this logical message, logical message is PORDCR, and then variant of the port. So sometime you might want to put the port and all. We are going to talk about it, no problem. As of now, I just want to see how an IDOC looks like. So I went to WE02. I could have gone to WE05 to see the IDOC report. I am trying to pass couple of details like which date it was created, which direction, obviously inbound, and then what kind of IDOC type, what kind of message type, something like that. And then I'm trying to execute this and I'm praying. Okay, my prayers are not answered. Okay. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll remove this and let's see what kind of IDOC is already available, because that's the challenge with the dummy system. No IDOC at all. Remove this date. Okay, so I got the list here. Unfortunately, all the IDOCs are failed. The status you can see, this is how an IDOC looks like. So red means this is having an error, yellow means it's ready to process, and green means it's successfully processed. Yeah, So we have some successful IDOCs as well. So we have basic type as invoice. So for now, we just want to see what exactly this IDOC is having. So double click on this IDOC. Okay, good. So this is how an IDOC looks like. We have this control record which is being displayed here. Okay. So this is the control record. It will have basic type, IDOC type, message type, partner, sender, receiver. So it's like your number, your friend's number. Okay. Type means you are sending a text message. Technical info means which date and time it was sent. Address info is basically nothing in this case, not required. Details not required. Then it's having the reference number which will be tagged to your message. Direction is inbound. Status is successfully posted. So this is the control information. Next is data. So as I said, data will be in the form of segments. So there will be various segments. If I click here, nothing is there. If I click here, we have some data. So in this segment, we have this data. Then we have this. So normally if you see something like this, you can assume that you are going to have line item kind of data. Then you can see ZEILE, Z, which is basically a line item in this case. So this is how the data is stored in IDOC. Okay. Next is status. So status means it will be capturing all the history of that IDOC, how it exactly it was. Let me just check the battery. Yeah. So it will basically store the complete status history of this IDOC. So when it was added, or actually added to the system or created in the system, then it was ready to be transferred. So ready to be transferred means 64. 50 means added, 64 means still ready to be transferred, but not yet transferred. Okay. Still then 62 it's basically transferred to the application. The moment it's transferred, direct call started means the function model will be triggered. Then 53 means it's posted, successfully posted. So the data is stored in this way, header and item. So in various segments the data will be stored. So for example, you are feeling tired. So for example, you're creating a purchase order. Means you placed an order on the Flipkart website again. Now if you are handling this scenario with IDOC, then what happens? We have various kind of data here. The first kind of data is the customer detail, which means my name, let's say Adi, my cell number, uh, my address, my pin code, my country, and all these blah blah blah. I can capture all these details under one segment like this: name, address line 1, address line 2, street, country, cell number, pin code, postal code. A lot of things can be captured under different fields here in one segment. Similarly, there is going to be another segment which is related to your PO. In that segment, you can have the material number, you can have the date that material order was placed, the material type, quantity, the payment done. A lot of things will be stored under that segment. Another segment will be added which will have the line item. In that line item, it will be having the details of material again. And then how many, what is the quantity? So quantity is 1. So same thing, whatever we had in header, but an extended format. So that will be captured under the line item. So if you see this kind of tree structure means under this something is there means line item. And then we have different segments which will capture different kind of data. And eventually all this data is going to be required to post the document in SAP. So this is how an IDOC looks like. Now I want to think in a different way. Why SAP tried to create the IDOC structure like this? So the very simple answer for this is whenever we want to create a communication between two different systems, we want to exchange the messages, then the best language for this would be XML, extended markup language, and I think almost everybody would be knowing about XML. So how an XML looks like generally? It's very similar to uh, your HTML kind of language, I believe. So okay, okay, okay. So how an XML looks like? So I think almost everybody would be knowing this, how an XML looks like. Still, we'll just try to see. Just wanted to pull the example. So this is how an XML file looks like. This XML files uh, precisely would be very similar to my IDOC IDOC data or whatever you can say an IDOC structure. Here also we have some kind of hierarchical data. In the XML also we have a similar kind of thing. So eventually, when the communication happens between the two systems, this IDOC will be captured by the middleware and converted into an XML format and then posted to the next system or the receiver system. So you have this kind of hierarchical data. If I click here, then to, from, heading, body. So under certain heading, some data will be there. You can see this very similar to. So to means your friend, from means you, heading, message heading, like reminder, body, the text body. So I believe you can easily correlate concept. But then yes, in SAP we don't want to say hi hello. We want to deal with the complex scenarios. So we have this IDOC structure now. Function. Okay, there is another thing which I wanted to show you. There is one function module, I don't remember the name here. So what I'm trying to say is, whenever we have the communication happening in the format of XML, then our life is very easy there. What is this? Okay. Okay, so system got hanged and then finally it worked. So I used a function module IDOC underscore XML underscore transform, and then you can see that my IDOC is converted into XML format. So basically this is the benefit which we can achieve from the IDOC. IDOC itself is storing the data in a hierarchical format which can easily be converted into XML format, and then once it's converted into XML format, my middleware can easily read each segment one by one, each field one by one, get the value out of here and then pass it properly to the non-SAP system or any other SAP system, whatever means the target or destination system. Accordingly, the destination system can do whatever it wants to. So that is the benefit of an IDOC. So today it was a lot of theory which we discussed for IDOC, but then that was necessary as well. We discussed about the T code WE02 and WE05. There is a PPT attached in the website. You can download it and go through it if required. I'll continue with the other concepts in my next video, but it's like more than 1 hour now, and then I have the problem of spondylitis, so my neck is paining now. So anyway, uh, so you know WE02, you know WE05, and you know how an IDOC looks like. You know what is inbound, you know what is outbound, you know what is an IDOC status, you know what is ED, IDC, DD, DD underscore old and DS. So I think all these concepts will help you to go ahead in understanding IDOC in a better way, which I'll be doing tomorrow in my next video. So till then, take care and see you again. Thank you.